I have attempted to end my life twice, both times as a child, and it wasn't until recently that I realized how young I was. The first time I was 12 years old and entering into the sixth grade. I'm being very honest when I say the next few years were and still are such a blur that I couldn't even pin down the age of my second attempt, only that it was sometime before high school. I was very quiet as a child and really just didn't want to cause problems for anybody. I remember every teacher and adult that would praise me for being such a good boy. But the truth is that I was in constant pain, mostly created by my own mind, a mind that I felt completely and helplessly trapped in. I always felt like I was in my own world, and things would just happen around me that I barely paid attention to. I did not notice the bullies. I did not notice when my things went missing. I did not notice my parents fighting. I did not notice when my father was gone. The world is harsh, and I did not want to acknowledge it, so I didn't. But the truth is that we have to acknowledge reality at one point or another. If you refuse to experience your life bit by bit at a time, you'll inevitably experience everything all at once, one day. This is a mistake that can cost you your life. I remember the taste of charcoal that the doctors gave me to induce vomiting, and I remember the gut-wrenching guilt I felt of having to face my mother and the rest of my family afterwards. But when the time came, there was only silence. I was so relieved I didn't have to talk about it, but in reality, I needed more. I don't blame anyone for not wanting to talk about it. After all, what would you even say to a 12-year-old who just tried to end their life? Would you scream at them? Would that somehow show them how much you love them? Would that validate them? Some people are either so selfish or so blind that they think of everybody else except for the person who needs it the most. I attended therapy afterwards that I sabotaged because I never want to talk about what's actually going on or what's wrong. I ended up lying constantly, which got me out of therapy, but without the tools I would need to survive the continuous battles against depression. These were more than just bad days. They were days of nothingness and autopilot living, followed by sleepless nights of growing migraines, self-sabotage, self-hate, followed by debilitating days of actually doing nothing and sleeping all day, and around and around and around I went. This went on for so long, I do not remember most of my childhood, but now I know that this is not unique to me. Now I know that there are tons and tons of people still stuck in this loop of self-destruction. But if you are here, you are not alone. You do not and never have deserved to be alone. It wasn't until I turned 18 that I decided that I was done with letting depression have such a strong hold on my life. I joined the Marine Corps to find my worth there. But it wasn't until I exited the Corps that I realized I could not find my worth anywhere except from within me. I'm not going to sit here and spit out all of those motivational sayings that you've heard countless times by now, because you already know all the mottos and you've memorized all the mantras. It isn't until you raise yourself up and realize that you deserve happiness too that you can begin to fight back. I can't do that for you. Neither your parents or partners can do that for you. Your therapist can't even do that for you. But allow us to show you love and kindness while you figure out that it's within you to heal. It's always been deep down inside of you. Now, I'm no therapist, and I would strongly suggest therapy to anyone and everyone experiencing depression. We may all be struggling against it, but our individual battles are very different. I would like to think, though, that I know a thing or two about finding my way back to reality. It is important to read. Anything you like, it doesn't matter. This is not a distraction. Think of it like you're training your mind. We have a larger-than-life enemy after all, and we have to be ready. It is important to be active. Just remember that feeling good is much more important than looking good. This can also be a visual of healing. And I can't motivate you to hit the gym. Again, you have to find that within yourself. You are strong. You can do it. It is important to find time to do what you love. For me, it's playing video games. I truly hope you're able to make time for yourself in your own life. It is important to rest. Go to bed. Tomorrow is another day, and we will all have another chance to tackle that challenge. It is important to be kind. You know more than most of invisible scars and monsters that whisper in the dark. I hope that in doing this, you learn to be kind to yourself as well. It is important to not let your past define you. You are you today, and no one can ask for anything more. Look at you. You have survived your whole life up to this moment. I hope one day you can begin living instead. Until then, I am proud of you that you are surviving. Whenever I hear adults claim that children haven't lived long enough to know what depression is, I know they have no idea what they're talking about. Looking back, of course I'm happy that I wasn't successful either of those times. But if anything, those failures only made me feel worse in the moment. Now that I've grown older, I can clearly see that no matter what age, anyone can feel depression. But only with experience, or time, or hope, and more often than not, all three of those things, can you really struggle against it. I remember hearing in a video once that if there are those on this earth that can hate for no reason, then I can love for no reason. If our paths never cross again, I wish for you only the best, and I love you. For the rest of you, I look forward to hearing from you again, and I love you. Struggle on, my friends. You are worthy of everything.